Newcastle 3, Ipswich 0, 10 men Ipswich 0. And yo, you know what? Before I get into it, make sure you guys hit the like button if you're new, or if you're already here, you know, already a subscriber. Make sure we get to 200 likes, and let's subscribe to the channel. We are 300 away from 17k, so let's get that done, people. But listen, Newcastle 3, Ipswich 0, and it wasn't a game where you kind of saw any sort of upsets. But the reason I'm covering this game is because Newcastle, I think, are comfortably getting Champions League football while already acquiring a trophy. Now, I know this is Eddie Howe's game. It's his first game back since he's been ill, so obviously good to see him back and whatnot. But I'm not going to lie. Newcastle should have probably been about 5, 6, 7. It should have been about 5, 6. Now, I know people think, well, yeah, they had 10 men. Listen, the officiating was absolutely bonkers. That's the first thing I have to address. The officiating. How the hell? How? I don't know what his name was, but the player that had the tussle with Willock, how he's not sent off is crazy, for one. They should have had 9 men on the pitch. It should have been Ben Johnson and the other guy. I've forgotten his name. Someone correct me in the comments below. Yeah. And the goal that got disallowed at 0-0 from Bruno Guimaraes. How that is a foul on the keeper. Now, listen, Liverpool, as a Liverpool fan, we got away with one of those not too long ago. We got away with one of those against Man City. I think Raya got away with one of those a couple of seasons back. We've seen keepers get overprotected, but it just keeps happening. That is an absolute 100% legal goal. Yeah, that is a legal goal. We literally got away with one the other day, as I said, with Alisson. But honestly, they got to start giving goals for that, man, because it's like the keepers are just being protected. If they get knocked off a balance even just a tiny bit, nothing gets done, nothing gets said. You know, I think it was the game against Bologna and Inter Milan. There's a situation where that happens where Martinez hits the post, and it's just a similar thing. The goalkeepers are getting crazy protection. They need to fix that. So Newcastle already robbed of 2 decisions within the first half before a goal's even gone in. And then for me, the penalty in itself on Jacob Murphy, that's actually the one where you could actually argue, was there even that much contact? I feel like Murphy does go down a little bit easily. But listen, I think it is just enough to be a penalty, to be fair. But some of the decisions that went against Newcastle were absolutely abysmal. I think Ben Johnson was absolutely right to be sent off. The second attempt at a tackle for me just seemed like he wanted to get on the beach, be on the beach, and you're relegated, don't want to finish the season. That's what it looked like to me, because why would you make such a stupid challenge in the first half when you're already on the yellow? It makes no sense, but that's what Isak will do to you. The little spin, the turn, the flip round the corner, ridiculous. Honestly, Newcastle right now, listen, Specs, Kendall, say nothing. You man are cold. I was discussing it with the boys the other day and saying, I think the most robust midfield, the most balanced midfield, and yet you guys are still able to kind of rotate slightly and make things work. As I said, Hall out injured, Joe Linton out injured for periods of the season, getting Tonali back, Harvey Barnes coming into the team while Gordon's not really been here. Like, people acting like Gordon is just like a minor miss. Gordon's not no little man miss. That's nothing light. That's a major miss for Newcastle, and they've moved like it's not, like it's fine. Harvey Barnes has just slotted in. Jacob Murphy has stepped up. Isak has continued to be Isak, and they've just been as convincing as ever. Now, I know this is obviously a 3-0, Ipswich Town kind of thing, but honestly, these guys are actually the third best team in the league. Are they actually better than Arsenal domestically? I can't go that far yet. But do they have a chance of actually getting in touch and battling for that second place for Arsenal, even though Arsenal are looking at the Champions League right now? I think Newcastle could get second place. I think it's possible, because if you look at the way the defense is set up right now, Dan Burn has slotted into that centre-back position amazingly. Trippier's deliveries have been, again, 2 assists for Kieran Trippier. When did he come back into form? I thought he was washed. When did he step up? This is not making sense. Newcastle are here to stay, and I think they are guaranteed a Champions League finish. They're probably going to finish third. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish second. And that and the Carabao Cup is an absolute stellar season for Newcastle United. And when you're looking at players like Bruno Guimaraes, who for me have kind of gone under the radar, like it's just another example of the job that Eddie Howe's doing, man. And I feel like what we're learning is that they even have further gears to go with the likes of Botman being introduced to this team again. You know, when Lewis Hall gets back from injury, you know, when Anthony Gordon starts to start games again, because now there's a selection headache. Do you go back with Gordon, who you know is the guy? You can see when he comes on, the intensity doesn't drop. You see his quality. I personally wanted him at Liverpool as well. Then or would you go with Harvey Barnes, the man in form right now? Yes, he didn't get any, noted GA, but he was still excellent. There was a couple handball shouts as well in that second half as well. A few more decisions that you could probably say could have been given, could not have been given. Very 50-50 to me. So for me, Isak, I know he scores from the penalty spot, but he doesn't even have to have great games now for Newcastle to win games. That is a very important thing for Newcastle, that it doesn't have to be Isak, Gordon, or they're going to struggle. They're functioning. They've been functioning. This is not new. They've for a while now been functioning as a team, and they're not solely reliant on the likes of Isak, despite the fact that he's got 28 comps this season. And that is what I think Newcastle fans, the team, the club, are probably going to take forward and build on that from next season. I think they do keep their players. I don't see anyone really leaving the camp, in my opinion. None of their really like their top players. I don't think they lose any of them. I see them signing more players. I think they're probably going to get maybe a backup right winger, maybe someone to kind of rival Jacob Murphy. They're probably going to get another centre back, just because Botman's fitness is probably something they're going to want to address, just in terms of they don't want to be left having to, move defenders around. Dan Burn, is he left back? Is he left centre back? These are the type of headaches I feel like they're going to address in the summer, but they're good headaches because they're going to make them selection headaches rather than do we have enough just to get through the season or to compete in more competitions. I think that's going to be the next step for them. But again, brilliant penalty from Isak, really good work from Jacob Murphy as well. And again, what a towering header from Dan Burn, who gets his first goal of the season, man. I've got nothing but good things to say about Newcastle in this moment in time. And I think they're showing what consistency and being able to win games that they should be winning. They're showing the value in that, because a lot of teams aren't winning the games they should be winning. Chelsea got a good win today, but they haven't been doing that for long enough, and that's why they're in the position they're in. Newcastle have found themselves in this position when they were looking down and out at one point before they went on their really good run about 3-4 months ago. They went on the run, had a little blip, and then, when you go on these runs and have one or two blips, it doesn't matter as much. The Aston Villa game was a blip. It was a blip. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. Aston Villa were better on the day. You say congrats to them. And then, you know what I'm saying? Aston Villa they just got knocked out of the FA Cup. So listen, I'm just here to give these guys praise, man. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Absolutely outplayed. I know it was against 10 men, but they done the job, got away without any significant injuries, and then they keep it moving, man. Eddie Howe is doing an absolutely brilliant job. And listen, I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if these guys didn't finish in the top 5 for me. I think it's pretty much guaranteed, but we'll have to see. Take care. We'll see you guys in the next one, man.